everyone knows about this film, and mostly everyone has watched this film called Titanic. So here we are, Matt and I will be discussing this great film called Titanic, which is directed and produced and written by James Cameron. So in this episode we will be discussing our love for Titanic. So I'm pretty sure you will be watching this film, you have watched this film, and after watching this conversation you will be revisiting this great film. So do check this conversation out right now. Hi Matt, welcome to Spoiler Alert with me. Actually, welcome back to Spoiler Alert with me, Cinephile Sanket. So this is your fourth appearance on my new podcast, my new series. Today, like, we are discussing your favorite film, which is called Titanic, and which is directed, produced, and written by James Cameron, and he also edited this film as well. So, Matt, would you like to do the honors of introducing this film?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this has been a favorite of mine for years, but especially as a kid. So this is about the real event that happened in 1912, which was the sinking of an ocean liner, the Titanic. And I'm sure everybody knows about this by now. If not, you should have already watched the damn movie. But yeah, it was a very, very tragic event, and plus with the basic storyline of the Titanic. There's also a fictional love story that happens on it, surrounded by the characters Jack and Rose, which are played by Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, and it's them on the ship and what happens to them while they're on it and after, and just kind of the whole very upsetting kind of romance and tragedy that happened along with the Titanic. So yes, there's a lot going on.
But Matt, what made you pick this particular film for discussing on my podcast?
Well, I mean, this is one that I saw when I was like 8 years old, and it was something that I guess was almost like a big step into me enjoying other elements of cinema that for a young person I did not really I didn't see much of until this movie. And I remember seeing a trailer for it and being like, what the hell is this? You know, 8-year-old me, like, oh my God, this looks insane. It's big, it's crazy, it's beautiful. Has all these elements that I would love to see. And there was like, I couldn't get anyone in my family to see it with me. And I was like, little 8-year-old gay ass me being like, I want to see Titanic. And like no one wanting to do that with me. And we ended up going to see like movies besides that. And I would be in the theater next to it, just like listening into the wall of like stuff, and it was just very depressing. And then I finally saw it with my mother, my brother, and my brother's around my age, and my mom's friend, and just had the biggest emotional breakdown during that movie. It was something I hadn't seen before, and it was just magical and life-changing for me, and it stuck with me ever since. And I saw it, I think, 2 more times in theaters. And then I, bought the VHS, which came in like a 2-pack thing. And I would always watch the first half because the second half just made me very sad. So it's something that I've revisited all the time. And anytime I'm watching TV, it'll come on like TBS or something. And I'll be like, and have to watch it. I've watched it back to back before. I've seen it a billion times. It's just one of those things that reminds me a lot of my childhood and being obsessed with like the ocean and how terrifying it is. And then just this giant movie in general having a huge impact on me. So it's been a big thing for me my whole life, and it's something I always can go back to for comfort and to relive those emotions I had when I was young. So have you, like, when was the first time you actually saw it? What was your experience?
Oh my God. So, I actually, seriously speaking, like, to be honest, I don't know when I watched this film for the first time, because, like, yeah, to be honest, because, like, this is a film that, like, obviously, this is the film which is dubbed in Hindi as well, and I would say almost entire India has watched this film. Like, obviously, like, people over here in India, people don't tend to watch more Hollywood films, but I can say that everyone has watched this particular Hollywood film. I don't know why, because but like, people have watched this. And the strange thing is, this film actually like has a theatrical run every year over here. At least in Mumbai, as like it has a theatrical run. I
Yeah.
haven't watched that film in theaters, sadly, but I'm
Oh,
looking forward to.
ever?
No, so I haven't watched this ever. My mom and dad
Oh,
have watched this film. So this film actually came out in '97, and I was born in '98. But
oh shit. That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
amazing.
that's the thing, and
Yeah.
so that's the reason. And but obviously, since I told that this film has a theatrical release every year, obviously, so but I haven't watched this film later on as well. But I'm
Yeah.
planning to watch this film in the biggest format possible, like in IMAX, or pretty much like the in IMAX, or in like the real 3D version. But
Yeah.
I'm watching, but the latest memory, the of watching this film for the first time, which was and so this film I watched this film in Hindi dubbed. And when I was the first particular scene I remember is when the engineers in the ship were like they were actually like they were showing the older Rose, how the ship went down
Yeah.
in this in the ocean. They were showing it in the computer, and I just remember that scene only. Then
Really?
obvious, yeah, exactly. And what
Just
happened?
the scientific approach to it. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like
Nothing
I was thinking
emotional.
exactly. I was thinking, what is this happening? And I was little. Obviously, I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of the entire film. Then I watched this film again and again. Obviously, this film actually. As it was in Hindi dub, so it came in our TV channels like multiple times. And
Yeah.
then I found out there like we had some English channels as well. So actually I found out that it comes in an English version as well, the original English version as well.
Oh,
So
great.
I watched it on Star Movies, which broadcast this film. Then then actually this film became very popular in my household as well, like because in my house no one watches any Hollywood films except me.
Oh,
But whenever Titanic comes on the television, we have to pause it and watch the rest of the film.
yeah.
And to be honest, like unlike you, I have to watch the second half of the film. I don't know if it's a bad luck or a good luck. I have to watch the second half of the film
You have to watch the
all the
most
time.
devastating part of it, but that's when, like, I guess all the action is too. So it's there's a lot going on in that
Exactly.
latter half.
But to be honest, I would say that whenever I watch any film which has a duration of 3 or 3 plus hours, I tend to get bored sometimes. And like I tend to check the time all the time. But with this film, this didn't happen like
Yeah.
any time, because it kept me engaged every damn time, every damn
Yeah.
scene. It kept me engaged. Like just like before the sinking also happened, before the iceberg crashed, it kept me engaged all the time. And
Yeah.
that's actually the beauty of it. And obviously then I got to know that, oh, this film was actually shot in a swimming pool, like a large giant
Yeah.
swimming pool.
Huge one.
And like exactly, I then got to know. And finally rewatched this film just yesterday for this podcast. I revisited it. Truth be told, like this is a sad truth, like not a sad truth, but a very honest answer by me, because I was actually going to be just fast forward it and watch this film.
Yeah.
Like silly me, I was just I was about to like I was prepared to just watch this film just for 1 hour, and like just fast forward, but I couldn't. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I couldn't, because I just had to watch the entire thing. I don't know why, but it's that's that. But is it also more like that popular in the United States as well, like in India?
Yeah, I mean, it was a worldwide phenomenon. Like when it came out, it was like the biggest thing to happen to the world. Like it was like one of those like major events like in entertainment. It was just like this film is coming out, it's huge, it's crazy. It just kind of I mean, you know, it was like swept the Oscars and like was like a big thing there too, but like it was like it was on everybody's radar. It was just like the thing that was happening in the world at the time is like Titanic is out, and everybody was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see it." And I was in third grade when it came out, basically, and everybody in my like grade was obsessed with it. We'd come to school and like talk about it, and it was a big thing, and everyone was obsessed with like the ocean at that point, and we were like reading about the Titanic. I used to know way too many facts about the Titanic. I was in, you
How
know,
can
that
you
kind of
watch this film since like it had some amount of nudity and like sometime they actually like Kate Winslet showed the middle finger. I think she sometime someone I think told the F word.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they like someone told it, but like obviously this qualifies as a rated R film. But how did you manage to like? Was it PG-13 or was it a rated
Yeah,
R?
it's
And like,
PG-13. Yeah, it's been considered PG-13, which kind of like you know how the Goonies, you know that movie, like where the kids are trying to find the pirate ship or whatever. They curse and swear through that whole thing, and it's PG or G, one of those. It's just like parental guidance, but it was like different time periods where certain things were allowed. And during Titanic, there was like a thing where you could only show like a certain amount of like your breasts or say a certain amount of curse words. It's a whole fucking stupid thing. But when I was younger, I grew up watching horror movies, which are filled with all kinds of shit. So like some kids were like able to watch that stuff, and then there were the kids that weren't allowed to, and all the kids that were allowed to were like you know, a bunch of little assholes. And I was one of those assholes where I got to watch like the worst things for me. And the only thing about Titanic that pushed people away was that it was like a love story and a drama. But other than that, like the other stuff was just like, I mean, it's a crazy big ship going under, and like all this like this technical stuff that they attached to it. And it was like considered like an action movie, but some people were like, no, I don't want to go see some romance movie. But it was so much bigger than that. They had all kinds of different elements thrown into it that no matter what you were looking for or that you liked, you would be able to find something in it. But I also have my like 8-year-old brain attached to it, where this is like a nostalgic movie for me. It's something that I can like go back to all the time. I don't know how I would have felt if I watched it now. There's like, of course, moments where I'm like, oh, there's like cheesiness to this and a whole bunch of other stuff, but it's such a like huge technical achievement, and for them to recreate something so horrific and make it seem so real was just outstanding. And because there was like I think another movie or two that approached it, like A Night to Remember from like years ago approached it, and then there was like some Raise the Titanic movie that came out in like the 70s or 80s. I guess not a lot of people liked it, but you know, in the 80s and stuff, that's when Robert Ballard, who was like an oceanographer or something, he went and explored the Titanic, and that got more footage. And then James Cameron was obsessed, and he went down as well and saw all this stuff. And you know, we got to learn more about this exciting thing that happened and this huge tragedy that happened that people didn't really get to know too much about until all this information came out, and that James Cameron was like, this is the shit that went down. Even though there's like a fake kind of romance in between, there's all these real characters that you get to learn about that a lot of people didn't know. And it exposed a lot of different things that, and like the mysteries behind how it sank, and all these like weird things that happened where it could have been prevented, and all these just like
that actually
incredible ideas
happened.
that surrounded it.
So Matt, actually
Yeah.
that happened to me in this viewing. Like on, I think not just this viewing, like this the entire film. Like when I rewatched it and for this podcast, I actually that happened before also. When I was watching this film, I like in the initial moments of the film, like not the early the starting of the film, but when just before they were like going to be crashing with the iceberg. I thought that okay, they could have done that, they could have done that. This was the fucking time where they could have prevented this thing, and I was like, I was actually chasing that for them.
Oh, there's so many theories about like what happened, and I've watched like all the special features for Titanic. I've seen all the deleted scenes, everything, and I used to read about it all the time. Like people say that the two people in the crow's nest may have had some like sexual relationship and may have been fooling around while it was happening. There was this whole thing where they had sent out telegrams to other places, and there were other ships that saw. There was another ship that saw like um the flares going off, and they were just like, oh, that's just something they're doing. They could have helped. They also, Titanic sent a telegram and they were like, oh, they're just fucking with us. There's all these things that just went so fucking wrong. And that's what was so like insane about it, is like this, there are so many ways that this could have been prevented, and it wasn't. And that's why it's so terrifying that 1,500 people died during this thing that could have been prevented. And it's just, it has all these other things about it, that it was like the biggest like ocean liner of its time, built by so many different people. And that, there's that scene in the film where I think Ismay, the guy who built it, and Mr. Andrews, and they're like sitting there having a chat, and you could see a woman in the back like listening, and she was on the stand afterwards when they were having all these trials with the White Star Line, who was like in charge of the Titanic, and she like was actually there being like, oh, I heard them saying that they wanted to light all the boilers and they wanted to make it in the news, and that was their main priority, is being like to be like masters of the universe and get things done fast and to be number one. And they were more focused on that than the safety of the people on board. And James Cameron took those little details and threw them in the movie, which are amazing. And if you go back, you can watch like the moments where like there's a woman in the background peeking in, and you can see her like listening to the conversation. You're like, ooh, and just like little bits here and there that he threw in there that.
But that actually happened at the very last moment as well, because what happened was when like all this like all this shit happened at the very last moment, when the old Rose drops the heart of the ocean in the ocean. Yeah, and then and like we get to know Jack is actually like waiting for Rose to just come at near the clock. At the very same entrance scene, we can see all those people who were in in the rescue mission, not the rescue mission, but who were in actually in the boats, and which actually some of them actually survived. But we can actually see all of those people in just
along the panning,
exactly along the panning thing. So that's actually so much detailing which was done by James Cameron also. But do you know any like instance, any sorry, not instance, but do you know any film which is kind of similar, which has similar kind of treatment, like there's a real story, but in that real story you also have a fictional story as well, and that's actually quite unique about this film. But do you know any film which has this kind of
like what Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or whatever, that and like what's it called, like Tarantino's tackled that kind of idea before. There's been some other directors, but I'm also not someone who really enjoys like biopics, because growing up in America and in Hollywood, they force these fucking stories down your throat, and you're supposed to be like, yeah, I love biopics. And it's like, I can read Wikipedia, I can read stuff. It doesn't interest
me. Now it's happening in Bollywood.
Yeah, and it's like, that's the thing that people it's kind of like, just like people know of this, so they're going to be more interested, instead of like original ideas and stuff. So right now, older me is not a fan of that stuff. I can read about it and get a better idea than just some person shitting out generic story. But like when I was younger, this was like something that amazed me, because it was my first kind of for me, so I attached myself to it. And though the romance is fake, it's something that could have happened on the ship. Like there could have been a romance between a first class and a third class passenger that we don't know about there. And I know there's probably some like similar story that went on. Ask James Cameron, I'm sure he's got you all the details. But it's still, it worked because it had this like narrative to it that was fictional, but it was the focus, which was like the romance, and around it is this intense, crazy, fucking action-packed tragedy of chaos. So it's all these different elements that just work together in such a beautiful way. and I've been obsessed with it forever. But I was going to ask you specifically a few things, but what do you brought up the ending where Rose is like in bed, and then they have that thing where it's like her like travel down in the ocean, like that shot of them going to the wreck, and then it comes alive again, and everybody's going doo-doo-doo. And like there's a did you think that she died, Rose died, or was she just having a dream? What did she die and she's like, that's her going back to all the people that lost their lives on the ship, and like those who lost their lives like along the way in time, and she's meeting up with them now because they show her in bed and kind of show like her life, because she brought all her pictures, she brought her pet goldfish. I felt like this was her like, I get to go, I get to leave now. I'm done with life. I did my last thing, which was get rid of the heart of the ocean, and now I'm gonna die on this fucking ship next to my pictures and all this stuff. Do you think she died? Because people think she died on the ship, and I think so too, but that didn't come to me until later, where I was like, I think she passed away on the not on the Titanic, but the ship that she's on, visiting the Titanic. Like that was her last hurrah, and then she was like, I'm done.
No, I didn't think she died. I think she just threw the heart of the ocean in the fucking ocean, and that was it. Like she didn't. I think she was just reimagining those memories and all those stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Like this is
it's a either way kind of thing.
Exactly, but this is probably one of the first kind of like not the first, but the second kind of theories which I'm hearing about. First was actually about the iceberg, where some people actually told that there was no fucking iceberg in that ocean, and like iceberg didn't. Some people also told that there was an iceberg, but like the Titanic didn't sink because of the iceberg. So
there's a bunch of theories that people have all these different ideas of what actually happened, but no one really knows, because most of the people on that ship fucking died, and the people that were saved were already like on lifeboats. Because I know that when Jack and Rose are when they're in the water at the end and they come back and they only picked up like I think maybe 7 to 12 people, I can't remember, it's not a lot, and Rose is one of those people. And so most of the people that were saved were already like in the lifeboats and didn't really get to explore or understand or anything, and it was so much chaos that you couldn't be like, what the fuck happened? It's like they ran into the iceberg, and then and that's kind of what it went to, but it could have been a collection of different things and not just the iceberg. So
exactly but like I actually like I wanted to like tell this thing, like obviously what was my experience just yesterday was that I actually felt bad for the musicians as well. Like
I hope you felt bad for everybody, Sanket. Just the musicians, because they were working during
no, so they were actually working their ass off, or they actually were calming down all those passengers, but like no one was
exactly. that showed up too.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually then I was remembering that which song is this, and then I remember
like spectacular.
Exactly, this actually was the song of Moulin Rouge, I think, the very starting song, like the music of that. And but I actually felt very bad for them, like they were actually just playing their instruments, and no one was giving a fuck for them, but they were the only people who were calming everyone down. And the great part of this film was that James Cameron, with his all detailing and stuff, whenever we were actually like close by to that particular area of the ship, we could actually hear some of the sounds of them playing in the background. So that was a pretty fucking good thing of this film. And this actually like this actually stuck for me, like just later on, and I actually had to mention this this thing in this podcast, because I actually felt bad specifically for this like those
musicians.
Exactly.
Just them.
Exactly. But I was actually in shock about how this production, like led by James Cameron and John Landau, could pull this off. Like how could like how many, I don't know how many extras they actually got for the production, but like how can like how did they fill all the entire ship, how did they fill with all those people? Because like we can actually see in the distance as well, like there were actually people who were like doing anything, like doing something, but we can actually see in the distance, but I don't know
Yeah,
how.
I mean, there's like all kinds of, that was like also a moment where like CGI was at a fine point where they were able to put, you know, I guess double some images and stuff. They bring it up in like a lot of the special features.
Oh
So
wow, you have the Blu-ray.
yes, and I watched it the other day too, because I was just like, I can, you know, watch this at the drop of a hat any day. But like they and you know, there was like moments when they do like I think when Jack is on the front with Fabrizio and and he's like, I'm the king of the world. And then he's just like, ah, and then the camera pulls out and it shows like the entirety of the Titanic. And there's like little people like on the ship as it's going back. And a lot of those are CGI too. So there's like one specifically moment where right before he does the I'm a king of the world, they do a shot of Captain Smith. Is that his name? Yeah, and he's there, and right before they're about to like do a close-up of him, there's a person walking towards him being like, we've lit the boilers, blah blah blah, or whatever. And that's a CGI person. I would say go watch that because it's kind of fun. You just see him kind of like trying to move like a person. It's great. And then there's other little moments too that it's just amazing that he was able to capture that, and especially just the size of the production in general, and like having to, I don't understand. I know it's like it was like the most expensive movie to make during the time. And you know, it made the most money as well because people just kept going and seeing it. And then it was like the
Exactly, I
biggest
think
movie until like Avengers or some shit.
no, it was the highest grossing film.
Avatar.
Then Avatar actually crossed this film, and then obviously Avengers crossed it. But again,
Yeah.
Avatar actually beat the Avengers. But it's actually amazing that this film is actually still people are actually watching this film in theaters. I'm actually I have watched Avatar in theaters in 2019, but I haven't watched Titanic in theaters, and it was in.
I saw it. I saw it on the reunion of the actual sinking. My friend and I went to go see it 100 years later from like 1912, April 14th or 15th, I believe, and we saw it like late at night, just like when it was gonna happen. So we like saw it together. And it was a 3D one, and we also smoked, and we were just like just like lost it. I've been to the exhibition that they had in or the exhibit, yeah, in New York. First time I got to New York, it was like that day I was like, I'm going to the Titanic exhibit because I was obsessed with it. And that was just like a whole experience too. And just reading about all the people that survived. And when you go to that exhibit, they also give you like a card of a person, and you find out if you like, you're like, oh, this is who you are, welcome to the Titanic. And at the very end, you get to see if you lived or survived. And I was a third class passenger who survived. Don't know how. And it was a guy. So it was just like the fact that it was a male third class passenger and they survived, which, you know, so many of them died. They were even like kept prisoner down in the fucking like water that was coming in and stuff. And it's just like the way that shit was handled in the past, and how they were just like, oh, the class system and everything, where they're just like, oh, they can, you know, die like rats and stuff. And it's just like, it's fucking, it's such a horrific, insane event that happened, and all the things that are wrapped around it are so unbelievable, but it happened, that it's like, this is something that should not be a story in real life, but it is, and it was. It's insane. So yeah, I think that's a big draw to it as well, and I hope you get to see it in theaters at some point, because it's an exciting experience.
Yeah, sure, I'll like see this film very soon in theaters. But for now, Matt, I'm so sorry, but I have to end this conversation. I'm sure that we can speak for this, we can talk about this film for hours.
Days. Yes. Absolutely.
Exactly. But thank you so much for like coming back to my channel. I'm so honored to
Always.
having you. Like I know that I actually love talking to you about these kind of films, and I'm like I just love talking to you about these films. So thank you so much, Matt.
Same. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to come
And
back. And
also I
anytime,
am
I'm all aboard.
actually attaching your channel, YouTube channel as well on in the description, since
Yay!
you have also started your own
And you are on one too. So yes, you get to see another episode of both of us on my channel, which will be fun.
yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Matt, and we'll like I'll see you in another podcast as well, like
Of course,
you
many more to come.
yeah, thank you so much and
Thank
goodbye.
you. Bye.